to find that balance. So right now I think there's just a little bit of confusion in the direction that we're officially heading. The PTech grant is for 2 years. After that, can we go back to some taking college credit and some not? There's just a little bit of fuzziness about the future.
Right.
So I want to solidify that. I do want the high school here or no high school here to be solidified. Right. And I think once we get our gym, that it will help. There's been those are the 3 main things that I get so many questions about that I really can't answer.
Right.
So it's just kind of the uncertainty. Once we have more certainty, more things solidified, I think it will help for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what guidance would you like from TEA or other high-performing charter schools to help improve the quality of education for students?
Guidance from TEA I really don't know that there's anything they can do aside throwing money at us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Seriously, that's kind of their role is to help with money and maybe not just the first year, maybe the third year after they've give them some time to implement give them some time to implement their suggestions, give them some time to grow, and then come back maybe a third or a fourth year and do the evaluation again. Because I don't know if that's in the works. I have not heard that it's in the works. But, we get visited by TEA a lot. So I don't know if it's all the grants or, we get visited quite a bit. And I don't ever hear what comes from it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not privy to that information or whatever. I'm just chugging along running the school. That's my role, which is fine.
A lot of it does tend to be, in cases like ours, the evaluation is for TEA. And then it's up to them to decide if and how to disseminate that information. Right. Yeah. So. Not surprising. Okay.
But I'm kind of like a kid in that way. It's like they take their test. How'd I do? I want to know how'd I do.
Exactly.
What are we doing wrong? What can we fix? And it's not like anybody's unreceptive to other things. It's just you just don't get a ton of feedback.
Right.
So
yeah, and I can definitely see that being a challenge to work with if you don't have a outsider's perspective, a valued outsider's perspective on what can be done. Yeah. Well, then my last question for you today, and I think some of what you've given me throughout has fed into this, but what do you wish that you had known during the planning phase in the first year of serving students that you know now? If you could go back, what would you tell yourself?
You'll never work harder, but you'll learn more than you ever thought you could. What could I tell myself?
Yeah, if there was a nugget or two that you could go back and say, yeah, this is what you really needed to know. This is what you really should have done. Or
I wish I had from day one, almost like a checklist.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before your first 20 days, you have to make sure you get your LEP identified. What's priority?
Yeah.
At the very beginning, while we're better at it now, I still think a checklist would be needed,
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get so busy with your day to day, you forget to write down, okay, you know what? I need to write this down for next year. I have to do this by this date or, just little things like that. I wish I had a checklist. Okay, this is first, this is second, this is priority. Because most of the time, your first couple, even 3 years, you're just kind of handling things as you're thrown to you. You don't have any time to be proactive. You don't even know what you need to be proactive about because everybody's still just kind of figuring out what we're about, what's happening, you know what I mean? There's just so much learning in the beginning.
Yeah.
You could really use an outsider to tell you, this is priority, do this first, then do this, then do that. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right, since that is the last question, I'll stop us here.
Okay.